1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Recently, I've been sleeping badly, and memories have been appearing in the night.
3.
A while ago, you started to write down your memories, but when I asked about them, you said you couldn't go on. You were ashamed. I remember hardly anything about you. I never saw you drunk, dance, or hug my father. My father was a good dancer, but I can't see you, young as you were, dancing in the streets of North Manchester. You spent most of the war knitting, whatever people knitted for soldiers.
Did you watch the Swedish thing last night?
Have you seen that film, Il Divo?
Yes.
What do you think of it?
Interesting.
You turned it off after 10 minutes.
You couldn't get into it. Excuse me, it was not only me. Don't look at me like that. You were also not into it. Italian politics.
What is Jill doing? Do you know, Barbara?
No, I just let her get on with it. She knows what she's doing. That's really all that matters. Even if the answer's nothing.
You are 17. You go to Blackpool. You walk along the prom, and you meet my father for the first time. After your wedding, you moved to Manchester. You live uncomfortably with my father's oppressive mother and his silent father.
Yeah, she had her admirers. Jo and Gabe, they were sort of cousins. And then there was Russell. I don't
mind
into my past. I get too upset.
Well, you've sadly had a much more sad past, darling, than I have. So, I understand that.
Yes,
Of course,
it's
more
losses.
difficult. Yes. My father was jealous of every boyfriend I ever had.
Yes.
Including
But
Dad.
how were they about Bertie? Because that meant you were going to move away from London.
My father was very irritated and jealous.
Yeah, well.
But kind of Bertie was a bit more acceptable, you see, as a
bit wealthier?
because he was wealthier.
Wealthy, yes, of course.
It occurs to me for the first time that maybe you married my father for the security of his money rather than his looks.
You were quite young, because we did all sorts of things only young people would do.
Correct.
How did you get rid of Derek Davis? They forbade you to...
I think it was because
you really liked him. You liked him.
I did. We won a dance cup together at Wembley Town Hall.
Oh, did you?
He was a very, very good dancer. He was quite suave.
He was. Dark-haired, suave, nice.
And I think I met Bertie up in the north, and that kind of got rid of Derek in some way or another.
Well, we had our sexual awakening. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah, I do, actually. On the beach, and we called him
Boys, you...
Baby. Oh, gosh, that's great. Yes, I can remember. I can't visualise it.
I suppose there's a sexual aspect to this.
Just only makes me feel quite happy.
And it was always a tight squeeze. £10 each. Whoever gets 150 wins. And you can go down up to 10. In other words, if you've got 3 4s.
Too much information. I can't take it all in
Why?
one go.
These cards are for blind people.
I can put down the good time.
You've got to go all out, up to 10.
Oh, have I?
Yes, you can't put them down.
Oh, you can't do them piecemeal.
No.
Oh, now you know what I've got.
Well, you said you'll play it. If you have a bad hand to start with, it's all mixed and you've got nothing, the thing to do is get rid of your large cards, your 10s and 9s and
just now.
things like that. That's what you have to get rid of. Well, I've got to try and redeem myself somehow, Barbara.
Well, you go ahead and try, dear.
Well, it's not very good. It's not looking good. 5 or under. No. Do you want it?
No, thank you.
No.
Oh, collecting clubs. I'm going down for gin.
My God. Very much a sign of your increased affluence.
Yeah. It was handmade for us at Harrods. Very memorable. Monty ran it. Monty used to do all the work. But we got half the profit. Dad was always miserable in the raincoat business anyway. He hated it. He was going to put his feet on the table.
I'm in the garden shed with Bill, the gardener. He digs his fingers into his blue eye and pulls it out, leaving behind blobs of red jelly. He polishes it carefully with a large white handkerchief, smiling slightly, then pops it back into the socket.
Typical bourgeois Jewish life. Being non-religious, we never attended synagogues. Yeah, we were isolated from it, weren't we?
We had a big social life with stage people. Of course, we'd met Jimmy Henney by then. And we got so friendly with Jimmy, of course, when anybody was coming to Manchester, he used to ring us out and say, "Do you want to meet so-and-so?" "Oh, yes, please." He'd say, "OK, I'll tell them you're coming in."
You have the life you say you dreamed of. Marriage, a house, 3 children. But still you're bored. So you open a coffee bar. But barely a year later we moved to London. No, I say, I don't want to.
Do you think this idea of the government that people that have been a long time unemployment should do some communal social work?
Yes.
Clean up the graffiti and
people
what have you.
good.
Just to get them out of the houses.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of sitting in front of the
Yes.
plasma televisions.
Yes.
The poorest people have the biggest televisions.
I do think it's a good idea.
I do think it's tea time, Bob.
Well, go and put the
I think
kettle
I
on
was
then.
all that trouble buying the
All right, you
apricot
can put the
tart for
kettle
you
on,
and
dear.
Jill.
All right, go and
me.
I made lunch. You can go put the kettle on.
You're going to put the kettle on then?
Yes, I suppose I must. Is this your pen, Bob? Do you want it? Or was it Jill's?
It's
No, I
coming.
was using it.
It's off the table. Yeah.
Oh my God.
A little light on the subject.
Oh, there's only one end to all this.
Oh,
Sorry. I can still see your
yes,
ribs
quite
of
right.
beef on the table,
Quite right.
all sitting round it. Monique always remembers it,
Yeah,
because Monique used to always eat with
Yeah,
us, because she
right.
was one of the family.
of course.
Monique is our maid. She cooks, cleans, and feeds your children, and eats her meals in the kitchen. Bob, the doorman, is my friend. He's very thin. He shares his sandwiches with me. Sliced white bread, white beef dripping. Sometimes, lying on the white surface is a small brown stain.
We couldn't carry on. We hadn't got enough money to carry on. Hard to remember, really, because I don't think I was terribly happy around that time.
Well, the marriage was no good for years before
No.
then, because we weren't honest with each other. We stayed together because we felt better to be together for the children. And we sold off all our lovely antiques and the piano and everything to get some cash in. And off we went to Hove. (2008), isn't it?
Which sort of dates you doing?
Yeah, 8th.
What
The
happened
8th
in
year.
2008?
When you first had your stroke, it was in the 8th.
Yes, 2008.
2008.
September.
I've put down November since I started.
Would you be an angel and take? It's so beautiful out. Take Rosie just for a little
I'm busy.
walk. Oh. I don't remember any life in home. It's such a nasty time in our lives. There's a complete blank over it.
That's
That's what's
what happened, yeah. The mind sort of shutters, go down.
Yeah.
It was
Cleared
a
it out, haven't we?
dreadful time. And I realised that
Who were all the
it was a very superficial form of friendship with these people. It was all very nice when you were on top of the world. Fair weather friends, are they known as?
We didn't have any fair weather friends.
We lost touch with Jimmy and Janetta and with Nona and Johnny.
No.
Yes, we did.
Oh, yes, we did.
If you married my father for security, how disappointing it must be. And how lonely. You say nothing. The flat is tiny. I see steep stairs up to a tiny living room, a small electric fire, my brother with a broken leg, and the dog, who eats the gigantic box of chocolates my grandmother sent and is violently sick.
Can't see.
I remember the winter is so cold the sea freezes and my toes are swollen with chilblains and red from scratching. I remember I don't go to school. What do I do all day?
It's better.
We moved back to London. I've missed so much school I don't bother going.
It was a funny time of my life to be married and not have a marriage, really. And everything you did made you feel guilty anyway. If somebody asked you for a date and you'd say you didn't want to sleep around and become a slag. And it was so narrow-minded, everything in those days. Right. Oh, it is heavy, goodness me. It is really heavy. Yes, it's quite magnificent, isn't it? As a box. Here we are.
I used to go around with all these things hanging around my neck. Raise finder, the F mark, light reading, light meter. Oh, it was a Western light meter.
Fontaine and my
And we had a Bolex. Oh, blimey, yeah, we had a Bolex, what do you call it?
Headman.
Camera.
Psychiatrist.
All these people are corpses.
I didn't know you had a psychiatrist.
It was quite a state.
Yeah, that's very glamorous for a psychiatrist.
He was very nice, most attractive. A very good psychiatrist, and he went off to America. I heard years later that he got himself in trouble by seducing his patients. He got struck off.
And did he do that to you?
Yes. He was very hard to resist, I must say. Don't look as if it works. Right, I've got to clean the other one. Come on, actor. Well, only the actor. You want some milk in your tea? I forgot she's there.
Your mum's my best friend.
He's very good to me, he is. 250.
Yeah.
There we are, yes, sorry. I've made a mess right from the beginning. Ta-ta. Ta-ta, thanks very much. Flat looks lovely. Thank you. I was ready to have another go. We've always liked each other. The furthest and gone bad in bed, I suppose you could say. We want to protect you kids as much as possible.
I remember you come into the kitchen. I remember the red of the bunket seats like the ones in American diners. I'm eating my breakfast. My father has gone. Gone where? But you've already left the room.
Decided to put in for a divorce. I had a cocked up story. Dad pleaded guilty to having an affair. It was all a load of crap. But it went through quite quickly and smoothly. I can hardly recognise myself. I presume that's me. The posh chair. Dad was in Spain. Didn't give me any money. I was happy because I felt free for the first time in my life. I was obviously depressed because parts of me was lonely and didn't quite know how to cope.
But you aren't alone for long. You fall in love with a policeman and move him into the house.
And he was a really sterling person, and I was really very, very fond of him. And he was very good and very kind to me. But his enemy was the bottle.
I arrive home, but my key doesn't work and the curtains are drawn. I ring the doorbell. After a long wait, you open the door a crack and peer round it. Come in quick, you say. I go in and you slam the door. What's wrong? I ask. Nothing, you say.
No, I loved him. He was a good guy, good person. He had a very good sense of values. And, no, I won't. I can't say anything bad about him at all. I did have some very, very happy years in Spain, John. Indeed. Like all good things, it seems, don't last. He got more and more into coming back from fishing, having a meal, and then going off and getting too much for his own bloody good, and he used to come home drunk. And the drinking got a really big problem. And then we decided to come back. Walking back and forth like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm surprised Mum's allowed me to do this. She said it's her kitchen.
Well, I'm fed up with your criticism of my steak and my sausages. Get mine home. So do it yourself.
That's right.
I say.
Absolutely. It's nice I can help you, isn't it?
Yeah. You can do it more often. Yeah.
Why does bacon go so pallid when it gets cooked? It goes sort of white. Is there the water in it? Not having any?
Yeah, I don't eat things. It's full of sugar.
Oh, yeah. Mine off.
Now you can get from my way.
Is that off?
Yes. Oh, yes, that's okay.
You make your escape and you move back in with my father. You deny everything. You moved at Dolphin Square. You hate it. You persuade my father to move to the country. He hates it. You compromise and you move to a small English town. My father's bored. He persuades you to move to France. You're lonely. You come back to London. Secrets are best buried, you say.
She used to tell me a lot of things. She told me things that I can't repeat to you. Your mum was, what shall I say? Oh dear, I don't know how to put it to you. She was very secretive to herself and maybe a lot of other people.
think Mum had about 4 abortions legal. Because Eileen and I should have been 2 of 6 or 8.
Dad is a very, well, do we have to be open and honest about this recording and everything? Because it's going to be very difficult for me to cope talking about Dad's background, if not, because I know lots about him, and I don't want to upset him if he, you know.
I think it's pointless saying anything if it's not honest.
Well, exactly.
I mean, we haven't talked about what I'm going to do with this film.
No.
It depends what you feel, if you want to talk about him or not.
I think it would upset Dad.
To know that you've talked about it at all.
Yeah. Because he's had a bit of a weird life, hasn't he? Which we know. Is that? Hello? Oh, F off, madam.
We didn't have a close family life. I hardly knew my father. I don't think we hardly ever spoke. And I was very much a loner. I had no friends. I had an affair with a girl called Vicky. And we went out together for about a year, and like so many of these things, it was an accepted thing, possibly as it was a good match, that we'd get engaged and get married, but I realised it wasn't for me. And opted out, much to her distress. And from there, I bumped into Barbara on North Pier, where my fate was decided. Sale was lovely, but our relationship and marriage was coming to an end. We knew of no other couple that divorced. The shock and horror for Barbara's parents and my parents when we told them. Oh. So the effort and the necessary courage which I had to find to actually divorce was an incredible achievement for me.
And what are we going to do about your little spot of bother on the bum? Are we doing nothing till tomorrow?
No, what I'd like to do is first thing in the morning, have a look at it,
Yeah, in the morning.
and tell me whether I should go to the doctor.
Okay. I think you should, because the other one you've got
No,
that's
I won't do
not
both.
cleared up. That's a little festered bit of nasty on that arm.
Yeah,
It should have gone
it's
a long
decay,
time ago.
yeah. It's just gone to a hard nodule.
Yeah, I think it should.
It may leave it alone. Nobody sees it. Not doing any
It's
harm.
not a question of seeing it. I don't think it does your body any good to have a bit of pus
No,
there. Now you've got 2 bits.
yeah. Next week there may be 3. In those days it was ludicrous. You had to create a situation whereby you were discovered committing adultery. So Barry Lewis arranged for a prostitute to spend the night with me at the Midland Hotel and got a private detective to take a photograph of us walking into the bedroom. And that became the evidence for Mum to prove that I had committed adultery. And that's the way you got a divorce. Where did you live? My name's Daniels, Urin Daniels, and I've just received a carer's allowance claim form, which I'm in process of filling. That's right. Well, we're not married because I rent a room in the flat, but I look after Mrs. Daniels the whole time since she had a stroke. And we got divorced in 1967, would you believe? And I lived in Europe for many, many years and just returned to the UK 4 years ago. So what do I put in? I mean, I'm a friend divorced. I'm glad I had a haircut. I look much more attractive in the film.
Oh, me go. An ego on legs.
I hope so. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here. That's nice. Carry on.
Oh dear.
Do you remember what I asked you? Why are you lying down?
This is how I normally sit. I slouch. He was a very dear friend I had who died in an air crash. And he'd given me that as a gift, that Buddha. And I've had that since 1960. He had a little beard. He was very young to have one. He felt very arty. And he was on a flight from Malaga. And it crashed. It was a terrible crash. About 180 people, everybody. It crashed near Stockport, coming into land. Would have been about 1960. Anyway, so I've kept the Buddha which he'd given me, so I thought, why not?
Let me give you this.
You didn't have to bring things.
I know I didn't have to, but I did. I don't put that in the fridge. It's going warm.
Oh,
So put that in the fridge.
Oh, rosy.
Well, for the
Oh, lovely. Oh, a nice rosé.
Tell me about this cruise. The one you went on, what do people do?
summer. We did drink quite a lot because there were nearly 2,000 passengers and there was an equal number of staff. There were about 1,500 staff.
Blimey. Is
Yeah.
it men and women? It's like anyone who wants to go.
Anybody wants to go, but it was a gay cruise, so it was mainly men. There were a few,
Was it?
I think a couple, 2 or 3 lesbian couples maybe. And there was the cabaret, which were not, and the staff weren't necessarily gay. He met his boyfriend.
Who was his first boyfriend?
Oh, you know him. He was in Spain when we were there. Oh, I can't remember.
English?
Yeah, very English. He murdered and stabbed his father to death, who was a butcher.
Christopher.
Did he go to prison?
Well, he murdered his
What if
father.
he
No, he
stabbed
went
his father
into.
to death?
He was put into a mental home.
Mm.
No.
He was one of the most attractive young boys that you could possibly want to meet. Blonde, but terrible background. What went on in that family? Oof. Good health, Jill.
Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, here you are, Jill. Nice, that's me, that's Bill, that's Sebastian, that's Roger, that's Peter, an American. I've forgotten how I originally met Bertie. I think it must have been through the Macalo. I knew of the family, the Daniels. You know the story. You had the Macalo, and then the other side of that, you had the club. The head of Manchester Police raided it because there were men in those days dancing together. When I say dancing together, they were dancing like that.
Oh, you have to show me this.
Well, they were dancing together.
Right,
But,
okay.
but it was against, according to the chief of police in Manchester in those days, it wasn't acceptable. And they tried to get a prosecution. And your father said he was going to fight it. But in the end, as I remember, he decided not to, and to close the club and moved to London. Your father said, sorry, why don't you move to London with me? I found a very nice 2-bedroom flat in Dolphin Square. He says, you're not doing anything in Manchester really worthwhile. So I gave up the job I was doing. So we came back to London together and we lived in Dolphin Square.
And I was free. I had no more family responsibilities.
He got the job at the House of Parliament in the catering, and I was working for a shoe company, I think, for Pine. And then come Christmas, after about however long it was he worked for them, did he tell you why they pushed him out? Was it because he was gay or something? I can't remember.
Actually, he'd never really said.
Hmm. He got made redundant. For what reason, I don't really know. Whether they decided his face didn't fit, because all these things come into the equation, I suppose, for whatever reason. I don't know, you have to ask him on that. You know, it was illegal, in fact, up until, I think, 67. And then they made it legal. And things became a little easier. But there was still a lot of prejudice against gays, yes. It was a question of I suppose, guilt to some extent, because you felt you were different. You know, and initially one thought you thought one was the only one.
Somebody told us a big opportunity for making money in the Costa del Sol in Spain. So Peter stayed in the flat, looked after it, and I went up to Torremolinos. I moved all over the place on that coast. Then I spent a year or two in the Nogalera. And then from the Nogalera, I took this flat in Los Beriches. Met Roger in Torremolinos. I met him in a bar, he had nowhere to stay, so he moved in. Remember, you came and stayed there.
I haven't seen you for a few years, and out of the blue you invite me to Spain. Your life there seems to be one long holiday. I flirt with your boys, persuading myself they're interested in me. We play poker and you fleece me.
When I was divorced from your mum for those 20 odd years, well, I was young. I enjoyed my life. It was the best time of my life.
I'm in your bedroom. I'm helping you with your latest move. I pick up a pile of magazines. I see the pictures of naked men. I put them back, exactly where they were. I leave the room.
When Barbara came to see me about what was going on with Tebbert, and how could she get out of this terrible relationship, because she was frightened. And when it happened, and I came over to London, 1, 2, 3, she was living in Dolphin Square. It was like, you know, taking up something which was very destructive in the early days. I don't know how it all came back into place whereby we came back together again. And I don't know why I sort of denied my own lifestyle to go back to what I struggled so hard to get out of.
You invite me to the cinema. I sit between you. You're on my left. I gradually become aware you're not looking at the screen, but at the young man sitting beside you. They've had this flood. They're just going to put in this enormous insurance claim, and they seem to think that this is perfectly normal. And it reminds me of the way he accumulates money, or tries to accumulate money, but not very well. And I can imagine that one day we're going to go to this Swiss bank after he's dead and find that actually there's no money there at all. I think basically he's a bit of a con man. He's certainly attempting to con the insurance companies. It's extraordinary how many floods they've had in this flat.
Well, Dad's always been busy with money. You know, he's always around Mr. Moneybags. I still call him Mr. Moneybags. Oh, leave me alone. Often in the evening I say, can't you think of anything else to talk about except money?
To which he replies,
Nothing.
It'll be one of two things this holiday. It'll either be a total disaster or it'll be the most wonderful holiday.
Haven't got that much driving to do.
No.
It's a long way. But you haven't got that much driving.
Most of the journey's on the train.
My mother has come back, so she's come back on the plane. A catalogue of disasters, really. He picked up the wrong bag from the train and took it off, and Apparently her bag has wheels on, so she couldn't understand how he could possibly have thought that this bag was hers. So he took the bag and they got, I don't know, I think they got to the hotel room before they realised she said that this isn't my bag. But anyway, I think he's getting the insurance on all the jewellery, so they'll probably make a profit. I feel that I'm becoming a sort of relationship counsellor for a dysfunctional couple. Whereas really what I wanted to do was to talk to them about the fact that they were so secretive about everything.
Do you want a grilled tomato?
I was just going to say that. Oh, right, tomato.
How do you do the grilled tomatoes?
Cut it in half
Oh, I know that, but where do you do them? Where do you grill them?
under the grill. Or in a frying pan.
Just fry them?
If you want to. It's easier.
I don't know, you
It's
could
easier.
fry, but I thought you had to
Depends
grill
what you
tomato.
do. Yes. You know.
Yeah.
Caring was the word.
You would say he succumbed to caring.
He's realised what the word means. Which is quite a breakthrough.
How many eggs do you like, Jill? 2. Can I use that one for bacon, or is this one reserved for your omelettes? Because I'm making bacon for 3 of us.
Yes, you need that one.
I can use it. Right.
No water in.
No, I know that,
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So,
Very good.
yeah. Come on, for your
You all right,
support.
no?
Spine neck. And it's lovely.
Throwing all the stuff away, it's all, you know, it all brings Barbara back. I can't finalise it. This is the first time I've ever washed socks. It's a sad admission, but there it is. That's how I am. When do you wash your socks in?
The washing machine.
I wonder what this left one is for.
That's it.
It's not the sort of thing for an English gentleman to be doing. I was known as Don Senor Bernardo. Maria would have had to do this.
Who was Maria?
My maid in chief. She was the head of all our maids. We had 6 of them.
Six? You had 6 maids?
Yeah.
They weren't yours personally though, were they?
No, from the firm aid, for my company, cleaning the apartments that we rented.
You're in Spanish mode then.
Little Spanish
You're
maid.
thinking about Spain.
Oh, what a lovely family they were. I went to every one of their what's the name? Christenings, weddings, and I was always the guest of honour. How the hell does it go? I just feel everything's pointless at the moment.
There we are in Spain. We've been here 2 days. I have been on the verge of killing my father. I haven't quite done it because I promised myself that I wouldn't. Five more days. Last night he told me he loved Rodrigo. I don't know, I'm not sure what their relationship was, quite honestly, because Rodrigo seemed to have loads of lovers and also had a partner who I met. I have never once heard my father say he loved anybody. Not us, not my mother, not anyone. But it's not going to happen.
With you, and I'll stay here for about a few minutes and I'll come back. No, I don't. I only want my bloody kettle. I can put my computer on it a bit higher, about there. I don't know. What do you think?
It's all right.
What do you mean? All right. You've got no opinion.
No.
Would you like this table here or not? Or do you find it a bit sort of ordinary? What's it unusual about? Look at that one. I've never seen that. That's a funny shape. Oh, it is fantastic here.